Okay, so should be live. Sure, yeah, I got the right thumbnail. Got the right title this time. Wow, improvement. I'm not messing it up right out the gate. Okay, so let's get right into it because basically I'm gonna clip this stuff up anyways and make videos out of it. So it doesn't necessarily matter if you catch it live, you catch it live. I think over time this will develop into a lot more. Now it's just me, instead of recording it off stream, me firing up live on the channel and kind of clipping it up that way, because I'm more natural when it comes to live for some reason. I'm not necessarily that good when it comes to just recording. No idea. Just some people, I guess, are like that. So I kind of just like write up notes, try to have like an idea, do a little research beforehand, try to go a little bit off the brain, search up some stuff, go off of my notes, try to do the best I can. So I'm obviously not necessarily a reporter, not necessarily someone in the media. I have no affiliation with anyone. I'm just a fan. I talk sports, not bullshit. So let's get into it. This is what happened this past weekend in combat. All right. So right out the gate on Friday, we had a Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. There was no way I was going to hear my dog lick. Tried to stop them. Anyways, so on Friday, we had Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. And I'll be real honest with you, full transparency. I did watch up until the women's fight. Women's fight was interesting. Ended up kind of falling asleep. Kind of caught a little bit of the Jake stuff in and out of, staying up and not. Wasn't really interested that much. I mean, I saw the highlights. I knew it was kind of going to go the way it was going to go. And I felt bad that Mike. I mean, look, I love Mike's, warrior spirit, his idea of wanting to do it, but you're probably a couple years a little too late. Maybe the guy that fought Roy, but 50, every year, especially when you're older, you just continue to age. It feels faster. Feels like at a faster rate. I cannot imagine 58. Some people think I'm already 42. Regardless, 58, he did the best he could. I just knew at some point it's a young man's game and Jake was just going to be able to not toy with him, and not that Mike couldn't necessarily use some power to drop him, because I saw some highlights, but it's just not there. He couldn't really move very well. It was not there. Like, Jake really would have had to have just been complete ass cheeks to get dropped by that version of Mike, to be honest with you. So moving, I guess there was also some not conspiracy, some controversy. That's the fucking word. Let's get the right word. Some controversy with the females fight. The women boxing, what was it? Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, I believe. I'm not necessarily super knowledgeable on it, but apparently Amanda won, and that's the second time that she was supposed to win, and the judges did not give it to her. And I don't know, a lot of controversy. Let me know what you think if you're watching this. Very, very odd. But UFC 309, that's the main meat and potatoes of this whole live stream. We have to talk about UFC 309. We have to. And there was a lot of different things that were on the line when it came to walking into MSG, when it came for John Jones and Stipe Miocic. Stipe, going into the night, there was no guarantee he was going to retire, unless he in his own mind was like dead set on, I'm retiring, win or lose. Don't know. He's very, very keeps everything to the vest type of guy. You know what I mean? So John Jones, on the other hand, you could have gone in so many other directions. Everything could have happened. Pereira, Tom, Stipe spoiling the night, spoils the night, maybe a rematch. Then it derails the whole time with the interim. Like, there's a whole difference. There was a lot of pressure on John to do what John does best and show everyone why he's the greatest fighter that we have ever seen in all of combat. Walks into a room, he's walking out. Okay? He walks into a room with another man, he's walking out. Maybe Francis. We'll see if that ever happens. Highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. Now, unless they start throwing around some oil money and they start doing what boxing's been doing and start putting these people together, maybe they could do a crossover of the UFC in the PFL. Now, to be honest with you, I thought before he just lost recently, I thought Anatoly Malikin was a possible opportunity for a crossover with one in PFL, Anatoly versus Francis, but he just lost the belt to, I don't fucking even remember the dude's name. Like, no offense, but like, man, there is absolutely no promotion, no knowing of anything. I follow them. I barely get anything to pop up. I don't know, man. It's just very weird. Even though I subscribe on YouTube, that's where it pops up the most. And it's just very, very odd. Even PFL, they barely promote, but I get a lot more of their stuff than I do of ONE FC or ONE Championship, whatever they are, want to be called. Just so many different things, man. I thought that could have been a possibility if he didn't lose, but obviously that's not happening now. And I don't even know who the hell is going to be fighting for the other belts that he has. So just very odd. Let's get back to 309. And the first fight that I do want to talk, or actually, not first fight. The first thing I do want to talk about is the gloves. The fact that they're changing the gloves, whether it was because of John Jones or not, we do not know. And we will probably never know. And I will just say this. There was a fight. He was walking into the octagon. He has a broken toe from the Chael Sonnen bout. And his toe was like this over his other one. So ever since then, he tapes his toe. Well, wherever he was fighting at the time, the athletic commission was making him cut it. And he was like, he was very adamant about not fighting if they made him cut it. And I'm pretty sure the same thing probably happened here. That was right before he stepped into the octagon, the one I'm referencing. But this, in a pre-fight interview, he mentioned how he was not happy with the gloves in training. He was not interested in using them. He was not using them. Actually, he was very worried about having to fight in them. And then they ended up changing them. So Dana's explanation was, we spent a lot of money on this. We're going to go ahead and let, I think what John, actually, not Dana's explanation. Let me take that back. I think it was John Anik explained on the live broadcast on the prelims or early prelims that they were going to do the pay-per-views with normal old gloves, and all of the fight nights and other smaller cards that were free, they were going to do in the newer gloves to see the difference and see how things would go. So I think that is an interesting take. And Dana had explained they spent a shit ton of money. He's not necessarily happy that they're making the change, but the old gloves are the new gloves. That's what he said at the fucking presser. I thought that was kind of funny. The first fight, Oban Elliott, the Welsh gangster, absolute nasty KO, absolute fucking, what a great finish in the third round, because his last three fights in the Contender and 2 in the UFC were all decision. No one had him knocking this dude out. And then at the last fucking couple of minutes in the third round, boom, dropped him out cold, bro. Now, I don't know what's going to happen for who. Damn. Raphael. Let me see. I'm totally butchering the name. I gotta see it. I didn't have it pulled up here. Sorry. Oh, Basil Hafez. Sorry. Completely messed up the name. Basil Hafez. I don't know what's gonna happen next for him. He had a great fight against JDM. He beat Mickey Gall. Okay, and then Mickey Gall fought above him. Obviously, Mickey Gall was fighting for his job that night. Now he's 7-7. Got dropped pretty bad in the first. But Oben Elliott, literally in the last couple of seconds in the third, dropped him. Horrible knockout. Welsh gangster. I love the Hulk Hogan flex. I love that type of shit. Hulk Hogan, he was going around doing this type of shit. Looking to hype up the crowd. Hopefully he gets put on higher on this card in the future, because him at 70 could be an interesting contender if he starts climbing these ranks. Now, there's too much depth at 70 and 55, so he's really going to have to prove a lot, just like all these other guys do, except for maybe somebody on the main card, which we'll get to, Mauricio Rufy. First time I've seen him fight. That was a very interesting bout. But we'll get to that here in just a second, because there's not many fights I want to cover leading to it. Marcin Tybura over Janata Deniz. I think that's how you fucking pronounce his name. Janata Deniz, kickboxer, came over 8-0. He's been in the UFC from the Contender, and he had a win or two in the UFC already, I believe, in the heavyweight division before this fight. And then he was supposed to fight Derek Lewis. It got canceled for whatever reason, and then he got rebooked against Marcin Tybura. And Marcin Tybura is a nasty veteran. You do not sleep on him. He is very, very crafty. And Janata Deniz found out because the New York Athletic Commission put an end to it. The dude had 2 nasty cuts. I'm not talking on the eyebrow, which is horrible. And basically what Amanda Serrano had, or even Chris Cyborg had in her championship fight. Not here, not like Nate and Nick, but on the eyelid itself. Not on the eyebrow, on the eyelid. He had 2 slices from nasty elbows from when Marcin Tybura had ground control, and he was just teeing off on top of him. And Erbdeen should have ended that shit, to be honest with you. But then he let him get out of the round. His team rushes in to go grab him and lift him up to get him to go to the next round. The Athletic Commission comes in and ends it because that they think that he had a concussion. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because of the elbows this dude was eating on the ground. Nasty finish by Marcin Tybura, and kills the hype for Janata Deniz. Very interesting finish there, because I didn't necessarily see that coming, to be honest with you. Even though Marcin is a very crafty veteran, I didn't see it ending that way. It was very brutal. Jim Miller, man. He gets it done in the first round against Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson also retired. He's going for 50 bouts in the UFC. He has 45. As soon as he hits 50, he's done. He wants to hit that record. Or actually, yeah, it is in the UFC. Insane. And he got a fucking guillotine finish. I love it, man. He's what, 42? Absolute beast. 41. My apologies. Jim fucking Miller. Love you, man. Love the entertainment you've been providing us fans for years. Now, we finally get to him. Told you. Wasn't going to be that long. Okay. Mauricio Rufy. This dude. All right, let me say his opponent too. Mauricio Rufy versus James Yontop. All right. I want to say his name because the dude was very unique, and he was a gamer. He would not go out. Mauricio put it on him, dropped him a couple times, rocked him a couple times. Dude was on Queer Street a couple of fucking moments in multiple rounds. All right. Mauricio Rufy, going into it in the walkout, you know how the announcers always hype people, right? And I totally understand why. That's kind of their job. But being compared to a early prime peak Conor McGregor, the Conor McGregor that beat Jose Aldo, and then being compared to an Alex Pereira, all right? That's what Joe was saying about this dude while he was walking out, all right? Now, I've never seen him fight, but to be fair, the way he fights is literally like that. Well, maybe not Alex, but like literally the way Conor fights, his stance, his movement, it was very like, wow, like this is very similar. I've seen this before. Deja vu. Obviously, it's not Conor. Obviously, that's different. You know what I mean? It was more or less the way he moves, the way he fights. Not he's the same dude. Obviously, that's not the same. Now, don't get me started about some of these tattoos. Some of these guys, maybe just because Conor made it so famous and people already had it, so now everyone sees the comparisons, but everyone's got that chest piece and the back tat now. Actually, he had a really, really cool back tat. I believe that was his. Let me look it up. Yeah. His was really fucking cool. I gotta give that to him. At least from what I've seen while he was fighting. Maybe it don't look too good in a still frame. But it was very unique compared to the other ones that we've seen. It was like a face. Yeah, it's pretty cool looking. Anyways, overall, he lived up to some hype. You know what I mean? Like he did live up a little bit because it was very fun to watch him. And it was an entertaining bout. And I do believe that they did do a great job by putting him on here, because as soon as I saw him open in the main card, I'm like, I've never seen this guy fight. Why would they just open MSG main card with either of them? And then every site I went to, they had Mauricio Rufy 98 to 95% fan vote to win. And he was like a -1,000. It was fucking crazy. So, is what it is. But very fun to watch. Hopefully, he actually cuts down to 55 or he makes 70, whatever he's going to do, because they did a weird catch weight at 65 because Yontop apparently wasn't going to make 55. And then they made it 65 and then he couldn't make 65. So he still missed weight. It was like, what the fuck's going on? Hopefully, we see Mauricio at 55 and maybe contending. I mean, it looks like they're going to be pushing him. So I'm going to definitely be skipping over the women's fight, even though it wasn't that bad. It was, it was solid. It just wasn't necessarily something I'm like, oh yeah, I want to talk about it. Like, good on you, Vivian Arujo. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And you stopped the hype of Silva. Silva had to really get her conditioning right, bro. Like, come on. What was that? Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel proved that he can hang. All right. Paul Craig, bigger guy, 6'3", coming down from 205, beat a Magomed Ankalaev, beat a Jamal Hill. He's very, very talented. He's very, very crafty. The 17-9-1 record would tell you different, but do not take it at face value. All right. Because he was facing killers. Very, very good fighter. Bo Nickel is a very, very good test for him. It's a tremendous test for him. Going against a submission artist, and Bo Nickel comes from a wrestling background. That is obvious. Matchups make fights, okay? or styles make fights. Sorry. Either way, Bo Nickel didn't even showcase or shoot at all. All right. He was standing up the entire fight, all 15 minutes. All right. All 3 rounds. Good on him. And he proved a lot of people wrong. A lot of people did not think that he was going to be able to stand up and do that for 3 rounds. They all thought he was going to at least have to shoot, and he did not want to. And I do not blame him because Magomed Ankalaev found out, and so did Jamal Hill. So, and those two, one's a champion at 205, the other one's a contender. I mean, you tell me. His one loss is against Paul Craig. So I thought that this was a great test for Bo, and he showed out. He didn't like knock him out, but the overhand right was perfectly placed. The one thing that I did see that I was like, right? I do got to say this. I'm not perfect. I'm not best fighter IQ, none of that. I got no experience in any of it. But the way he dips reminds me of DC head kick against John Jones. All right, where he gets knocked out. It just reminded me, the way he dips to the side reminded me of that. So if someone can find and read that tendency at 85, they might be able to head kick, drop Bo. Not rooting for your demise, just saying something I saw and made me think of other American wrestlers. That's it. Now, when it comes to Charles Oliveira becomes the number 1 contender, beating Michael Chandler in the co-main event. 5 rounds, by the way. I think that's the first time he's ever gone 5 rounds, even though he fought numerous times for championships. Just the first one that lasted 5 rounds, actually. And then Michael Chandler, I don't necessarily know what is next for him. He's in a weird spot because he called out Conor McGregor, but he came back after waiting for Conor McGregor. And then Dana White said Conor's not going to fight until the end of 2025. So he's even going to wait longer? Is he going to wait another year to come back? I hope he doesn't, if he really wants to try to continue to be on a path of the title, or at least being consistent, because you're getting up there in age. You don't want to stay and make your money here. I know he was not bragging, because it sounds like he was like talking shit or anything, but like he was talking about how he's gotten into other business ventures outside of the octagon. I know I think it was like hiatus tequila or something. And then I keep seeing him on these other ads for like proteins or like vitamins, etc. So good on him. He knows the game. Seems like he's evolved outside of the game, and he's got that itch to fight. I just hope he doesn't wait that long. So we'll see what happens. But Charles Oliveira is going to be facing Islam or Arman Tsarukyan next. We are going to find out whenever that pay-per-view is. I think that they might have talked about it being in February. I could be wrong. But Arman, Islam, that's going to be interesting. Islam, we'll see if he gets another title defense. If the reign continues, I'm not necessarily sure. I'm not the biggest Islam fan. I know their camp they've tested hot like numerous times. I don't care what Nowitzki says. Oh, take it back. It's not just Islam testing positive over there. All right. Most of them are. It wasn't no fucking joke when Nate and Connor said that shit. So anyways, main event. John Jones, Stipe Miocic. It ended in a devastating fashion. Bro, out the gate, John Jones used his range with his legs, and Stipe was not ready for that. I'm not necessarily sure whether Stipe was looking slower based on the damage and the front kicks to the body early on before he got tripped in the first round and then elbowed on. I don't know whether that slowed him down or the age, if I'm being honest with you. Because the front kicks to the body early on in the first round were devastating. And then when John did that trip and then fucking flipped him, the elbows after that were fucking, oh my goodness. The elbows were very malicious. He's so violent in there. He goes in there, he turns into a different animal, to be honest with you. He's crazy. But that's why we love to watch him, because he's so creative. We don't even know what's going to happen next, which then spinning back kick right to the ribs. Boom. Drops Stipe in the second round. Or third round, I guess. Sorry, my bad. I don't know, man. I really thought Stipe Miocic at 42, even though I understand 42, having that age, not many, actually, I'll take that back. Let me change my words here. A couple of champions have won past 40. Glover, Randy. It's possible. And it's only possible at light heavyweight, etc. Not etc. That's about it. But that's who I thought Stipe might be. That's like one of the people I thought maybe he could have joined that group with. Okay. And I know John Jones, that's a tall order to beat. Okay. Greatest of all time. And I've always been on that side of it. I hope when people hear me talk good about Stipe, it's not because I don't like John. I love John. John's my favorite fighter of all time. Trust me. But Stipe with the credentials, D1 wrestler, Golden Glove champion, the multi-time UFC heavyweight champion, defended it the most in the division. I mean, had the layoff, looked very good, was in tremendous shape, and John just took care of him. John just took care of him, man. And that's all with due respect, because I was not necessarily rooting for Stipe, but I was one of those that gave him a chance and a shot in this fight. And I was wrong. I thought it was a 50-50. John completely closed the gap and made it like anyone that was thinking that Stipe had a 50-50 chance, he finished that thought in the first round. He really did. And the thing that I'm interested in the most is, now that Stipe's retired, we know that he's not going to face anybody. We can remove him from the heavyweight division. Whether people wanted to see him fight again or not, probably not. No offense, I'm a huge fan. Love and appreciate your career. Thank you for the entertainment, Stipe. Hope you have a great life in retirement. We need John versus Tom. We really do. We need John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. And I wasn't necessarily the one beating the drum for that. It's just the fact that the way he was able to handle a Stipe Miocic, if he gets in close on Alex Pereira, it's going to be really interesting to see what Alex can do. And that's fun. But Tom Aspinall, does John give Tom that opportunity, even though I do understand and agree with why he is not? Because Tom, I understand all the accolades, fastest knockout, knocked out all his opponents in under record time, or all of the combined times together isn't even a round, or under 15 minutes, whatever the fucking accolades are, right? There's like nobodies in the heavyweight in terms of name value other than Tom Aspinall, Stipe Miocic, John Jones. You know what I'm saying? Like Derek Lewis, like, and I'm not saying Derek Lewis needs to be in there, but like people know who he is. There's not many names there. So even though he's done it, he's not done it against ex-champions other than Arlovsky way past his championship. Or then you have the argument of, well, John's not fighting him. He has no opportunity to face a champion. It's less about John giving him the opportunity because he's the champion and has to, and more about John wanting to defend the championship against big names. And I get it. If you're the champion, you got to defend it against everyone that comes in line. That's why I'm agreeing. Tom does deserve the next in line. He is the next guy in line. But if John is interested to step out of line and Tom to take that spot, I could honestly see John stepping away from the sport, Tom Aspinall assuming the championship, everyone calling John Jones a duck for a year or two. John Jones returns against Tom Aspinall if he is still champion, which is what I think John wants him to prove. He wants to see if Tom can prove he is who he says he is. And other than he has been, and it's still not for X amount of time, like John, it's just not the length of a career and something he wants on his legacy, because in his next fight at heavyweight, you could get starched today, or starched tomorrow, whatever, that's true. And John's held on to this legacy and worked on this legacy. And in his words, gambled every time he's gone into the octagon, which in essence is true. And I don't know why Tom Aspinall is using that against him, to be honest with you. It's fucking true. Every time you step in there, you're gambling your career because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. Whether you win, you lose, injury, health, whatever it is. Whatever it is a gamble when you do this sport. I have no experience in it with myself, but going and stepping in to fight another man, it's a gamble. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen. So I understand the way and why he used that word, but now everyone's kind of on his ass for using it, because if you think fighting me is a gamble, that means you're scared. I don't really see it that way, but I still want John versus Tom. I hope Hunter can sit together with John and throw just throw a bag of loot right here. Just throw a bag of loot. Just what you spent on the sphere. Please. Just what you spent on the sphere. Just say, hey, John, we got this big ass bag of loot for you. We spent this amount on the sphere. Come fight Tommy and let's get it cracking. All right. And then you can go right off into retirement or face Alex after that. Deal? I hope that's what happens, because we need it to happen. All right. Alex Pereira does not need to face John Jones. I would love to see it, but he does not need to face John Jones. Tom Aspinall needs to face John Jones. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to end it there. Love and appreciate the support. Eventually, over time, I'm sure we'll have chat discussions, questions, thoughts. So how do you feel about this? Whatever. Totally open for that. We're still too early of a channel to get into that, conversation just yet. But again, I just want to shoot my content live, make sure I can get it down, recorded, edit it, upload it as videos, upload it as clips. Would love for people to come out and chat during the live. But if you're watching in the VOD or live, all love and support watching the content. Thank you very much. And I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm going to be talking about some upcoming fights. Wednesday? I think I'll probably go live Wednesday. I'm probably trying to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and try to keep that schedule, and then do weekend reaction type shit. So appreciate y'all. Love y'all. See you on the next one. Have a good one. Oh, Jason Tatum, MVP. Jason Tatum, MVP. Jason Tatum, MVP. Jason Tatum for MVP. I'm making my case right now. He deserves it. Best player in the league. Best player in the world. Best player in the nation. Best player on your TV screen. Shit. He your favorite player's favorite player. How about that? See you in the next one.